DB here, and I'm going to do a top 5 list of something I haven't seen much of on YouTube, and that's surfing movies. I'm an avid surfer myself, and I'm in the surf culture, and even if you don't surf, I think it's an interesting subculture, and beyond that, it's pretty to look at. You got waves in the ocean. So, starting off my list, these are both Hollywood films as well as documentaries, which are my favorite. And started off, this is one that pretty much everyone's seen, and that's Point Break. So I figured I'd get rid of it fast. Yes, early 90s action movie. Yes, it's cheesy, but goddamn do I love this film. I think it's Patrick Swayze's best role by far as Bodhi. And what it's about, if you haven't seen this and you like action movies, you'll love this. But it's Keanu Reeves is an undercover FBI agent, and he infiltrates this surf gang that rob banks dressed as presidents with president masks. And it's just over the top and awesome movie. A lot of cool surf scenes, a lot of cool action scenes, gunfights. Got Gary Busey in it. It's just Point Break's a fantastic movie. And getting up next, this one's a documentary, and it's called Busting Down the Door. Now, this is about surfers from Australia and South Africa coming to Hawaii back in the 70s and 60s, I believe. And it's just a really interesting documentary. It's because the Hawaiians hated them when they were first coming over there because they were acting like douchebags. But it's a beautiful movie. A lot of cool retro, vintage shit from the 60s and 70s that they show of guys surfing. And just overall, it's really interesting. Next up is one that was pretty popular when it came out, and that's Riding Giants. This is another documentary, and it's about big wave surfing, the history of it, starting with the Hawaiians up until present day. And this is just definitely, in general, one of my favorite documentaries. And as a surf documentary, it is superb. It's got cool little animation sequences in it, and narration's great. It's got so many awesome shots. Like, the things some of these guys are doing is fucking crazy, and it looks great. There's on the front's Laird Hamilton, who's one of the most famous big wave surfers. He's a cool guy. So yeah, Riding Giants. Next up, this is another Hollywood movie, and this is North Shore. Now, this is a late 80s, really cheesy surf movie, and boy, this and Point Break are the fucking bee's knees of the Hollywood surf movies. Now, this is about this kid, this teenager, he graduates high school, and he was the top surfer in Arizona. And yes, Arizona is landlocked, so there's no ocean. He won some competition in the beginning, surfing in a pool, and they sent him he gets a bunch of money for winning, and he moves to Hawaii for the summer, where he falls in love with this girl right here, and he enters some type of pipe classics, one of those surf competitions. And I mean, the kid, he starts off, he can't surf worth shit, and in 6 months or 3 months, whatever it is, he's like one of the top surfers in Hawaii. It makes very little sense, but very cheesy, very fun, and there's some pro surfers in this, and if you like cheesy 80s movies, this movie just bleeds 80s, and it's such a guilty pleasure, but it's a fun movie. Next up, and this is my favorite documentary, and that is Step Into Liquid. This came out 2003, I believe, and it was made by the son, correct me if I'm wrong, of the director of The Endless Summer, which is, one of the most famous surfing movie ever made, and he did this, Step in the Liquid. And this is just a documentary of just history of surfing, surf culture, and everything in between. It's very expansive. They even show guys surfing in Chicago on the, I think it's Chicago, but it's one of the Great Lakes they're surfing off. Really interesting stuff and very expansive. Step in the Liquid is the best surf documentary, in my opinion. Endless Summer's real old. I don't know. It's a good movie. I don't know. It's not in here, so I don't have it. And these are some honorable mentions. First off, In God's Hands. Now, this is a piece of shit. Everything about it's terrible, but some of these shots in this are beautiful. The director couldn't tell a good story, but man, could he shoot shit well. And interesting is, instead of hiring actors for this, they just hired surfers and had them act, because it's harder to teach an actor to surf than it is to teach a surfer to act. Another one is Wave Riders. This is another documentary, and it's about surfing in Ireland, or a part of it is surfing in Ireland, and the rest is just surf culture. Very interesting movie. Just seeing them surfing in Ireland is bizarre because you don't think surfing and Ireland go together, but there's some killer waves out in Ireland, let me tell you. And last but not least is, Blue Crush. Chick flick, but man, I don't care. I like this movie. This is a great movie. I really enjoy it. Maybe a chick flick, but fuck you. I think Blue Crush is awesome. So those are my top 5 and some extras surfing movies. Yeah.